What's up guys, welcome back to Fully Spooled. On this episode we're doing the final step of the ABS elimination by installing this kit from Suspicious Garage. So I bought this kit a couple months ago and tried installing it on a previous episode, but it turns out that the SC400 and 400 have different brake line setups, and this is for the 300. The 400 shares the same system as the Supra, which is that there's two individual lines that go to the back calipers, one for each caliper, whereas the SC300 has one line going to the back, so the kit that I got wouldn't work. Thankfully, the guys at Suspicious Garage sent along the new line that I would need, which I think is this guy. So this goes to the master cylinder, and then these two lines go to the rear, the two brake lines in the back of the car. So now that I have this, I can install the entire kit. So the plan originally was to do all this as one episode where I have the ABS removed and the lines installed all in one fell swoop, so it's easy to watch and everything. But because I did the ABS removal a long time ago and my brake lines showed up recently, I'm going to have to take some footage from my old episode and mix it with footage to shoot today. So there's going to be some old stuff mixed in with new stuff, but I think it'll be better for all of us to be able to follow along in one episode. There we go. Oh, come on, you. Alright, hopefully you saw what you needed to see from old episodes, which was removing the ABS unit, brake lines, and some other stuff, and now it's time to install my new brake lines on the master cylinder here. It should be pretty straightforward to install. We're just kind of screwing some lines in and then running them through the car. The only kind of annoying thing is that the front hole here goes to the rear brakes and the rear hole goes to the front brakes. It's beyond me, but that's the way it is. So other than that though, I should just be installing some lines and fittings and we should be good to go. I kind of half-assed threw the bumper on really quick because I haven't seen this thing look like a car in so long that I kind of wanted to remember what I'm building here. So this was kind of cool just to see that, yeah, it's an actual vehicle, not just a hunk of metal sitting in my driveway. I can't wait to get this thing actually installed for real. And I have a new radiator to go in place of this thing. Coming soon. Next episode? So we're going to do the rear lines first, which means installing this guy on the front here using the supplied hardware from the vendor. And then we'll just run these two lines down here to the back. So it looks like the only way it's going to fit is like this, which isn't really great because it puts the brake lines right in mix with the steering shaft and then also my fourth exhaust runner, which goes right down where that is. So I think I'm going to have to put this up here and maybe use more of my little clamps to hold these guys to the firewall out of the way. So I think I have a pretty good solution there. It keeps it out of the way of the steering shaft and also away from the exhaust, more or less. I'm going to have to build a heat shield anyway because the lines are so close to the exhaust going down there. So I'll build some kind of, I don't know, aluminum or something heat shield around the brake lines there at some point, but in the meantime I think that's fine. Okay, so we got the rear lines run, which means we can go into the front lines now, and this long end goes all the way across the bottom part of the engine to the passenger side. So we'll feed this long line kind of down there somewhere for now. This shorter line goes through a hole on the fender here to the driver's side wheel, and then this piece bolts onto our master cylinder. So the driver's side is pretty simple to set up. You just go from the master cylinder down to this little T here, and then from there through the hole in the fender to the driver's side. The passenger side, of course, is trickier because it has to go to the other side of the engine bay. And I tried going underneath the engine, sort of underneath there somewhere up to this side, but it ends up being really kind of messy because you have this loose line down there. Of course I would, you know, tie it up to places, but I'm not really happy with that. So I think what I'm going to try to do is use more of our little friendly insulated clamps there and run those along these unused holes all the way across the firewall to the passenger side, and hopefully that stays out of the way of the exhaust and that kind of stuff. So hopefully this will work, and I'll just be able to tuck this brake line back here along the firewall, kind of how it did from the factory, and it won't be in danger of being exposed to too much heat or, you know, road debris or that kind of stuff. So, oh yeah, that's a much better solution. Now before this line goes through the hole in the fender, I need to put a grommet on here so it doesn't get worn down by the metal in the fender. And the way they did it from the factory was have these little rubber grommets, and I was hoping to be able to reuse these, but one of these I can't find anymore, which is fine because it was pretty much destroyed from just being really old. This one, however, is still nice and pliable and has some, you know, rubber give to it. So I'm going to try my best to cut this piece off and get this guy to go over this piece and reuse this, because I did go to the store and I got what looks like a usable grommet here, but they only had one of these, so I'm going to try to reuse this, and if I can't, then I'll just order something, or I don't know. Yeah, nice. Got lucky there. I may have put it in the wrong way, but it doesn't really matter. It works the same way regardless. But there's my passenger side brake line hooked up. So I have the line going through the hole up there with the new grommet. What I'm trying to figure out though is these lines are so long, like it's crazy long, coming out of the engine bay there. And this suspension is at full droop right now, which means that it'll never be lower than that. And look how long that line is. I feel like I can probably just attach it straight to the brake caliper itself and then just kind of secure this line up here somewhere and just bypass the factory flex lines altogether. I'm not quite sure if that's the best idea, but I'm not really sure what to do with the other extremely long length of line. Because if I short it up and put the line up to just right there, check this out. I'll have this much extra line in the engine bay coming out of that grommet all the way around. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with all of that? And the same problem happens on the passenger side. This is how much line there is when I shore up this line right here to the factory flex line. I have all of this stuff to deal with. So, I don't know, guys. I think I'm just going to attach it straight to the caliper and then kind of see how it looks. So here's how it looks going from the grommet straight down through the factory routing to the caliper. And this is at full extension. The suspension will never go lower than this, and there's still plenty of slack here in the line. So I feel like there's enough slack, and I do have my little insulated, you know, line grabber guy there. Why can't I never remember what these things are called? The only weird thing is it goes through this piece right here, which is just metal. So maybe if I get some kind of extra tubing in there to keep that insulated, this might work. I don't know, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and we'll have a discussion about it. So the wheel's turned all the way to the left, and you can see obviously there's plenty of slack because it's turned to the left. It'll have more slack there than going to the right. And here we have it turned all the way to the right, and there's still a lot of slack here. And keep in mind that this is at full extension, so the suspension is unloaded all the way because it's on 4 jack stands. So the wheel will actually be up around here somewhere, which will give me even more slack than it has right now. So this might change later on once I put on the angle kit, but for now, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. Alright guys, there we have the lines all set up going from the master cylinder down to the driver's side fender there, and then back to my little mess of cables and wires and hoses back there. It looks kind of messy, but actually it's pretty organized and out of the way for my eventual header. So then it goes up and over the firewall down to the passenger side over there. And I also even changed my routing for my clutch line and the bleeder. It was originally kind of up and over and down, and now it just kind of goes from back here up and over to this little clamp right there. So I feel like that's probably a better situation for that as well. Alright guys, well it's been another crazy hot day in Southern California, but I'm really happy with my progress on the car. All the brake lines are installed for the front of the car and going to the back of the car as well. I'm a little concerned about how I ran the lines straight to each caliper, but it looks like there's enough slack and there's no rubbing or anything happening at full extension, so hopefully this will work out. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because I'd love to have a dialogue about this whole thing. In the meantime, my new radiator and oil cooler just showed up today, so that'll be the next episode. I'm really excited about that. And thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more Fully Spooled. There's a lot more coming as always, and I'll see you guys next time. Buddy, are you gonna help? Are you helping? Are you helping by burying your head in my legs? Can you hold a wrench yet? Have you learned? Have you learned these things? What, you just want to get by? Is that it? Here you go. Enjoy.